Imagine turning off your bedroom lights tonight. You lay your head on the pillow, and right as the room goes dead silent, you hear it, a faint, rhythmic, scratching sound coming from inside the wall right behind your headboard. In January 1987, a teenager named Tina Andrews heard that exact sound. She thought her house was haunted. She was wrong. What was actually living behind her drywall wasn't a ghost. It was a flesh and blood nightmare. And by the time she finally discovered the truth, he had been watching her sleep through a tiny hole in the wall for months. It all started when Tina went on a single, awkward date with a boy named Daniel LaPlante. Daniel was strange, quiet, and made people deeply uncomfortable. After the date, Tina decided she didn't want to see him again, but Daniel didn't take rejection well. He didn't yell or cause a scene. Daniel knew where Tina lived. He snuck into her basement and found a tiny, hidden crawlspace opening that led directly into the hollow spaces between the walls. He crawled inside and pulled the panel shut. For weeks, Daniel lived like a phantom. When the family left, he would step out of the walls, eat their food, and use their shower. But the second he heard tires on the driveway, he would slip right back into the dark, wooden skeleton of the house, waiting. Soon, just surviving inside the walls wasn't enough. Daniel wanted to play a twisted, physical mind game. Tina would leave her room, and when she walked back in, her furniture would be shifted exactly 2 inches to the left. She would find her favorite clothes dropped in the hallway. Then came the terrifying physical evidence. Strange, muddy footprints on the carpet that led directly to a solid wall, and just disappeared. The paranoia inside that house was suffocating. But then, the scratching started. Every single night, the second Tina turned off her lamp, she would hear the sound of fingernails dragging against the wood right behind her head. Daniel was standing completely upright inside the narrow drywall gap, inches away from her, listening to her breathe. The nightmare finally collided with reality on a Friday night. Tina and her sister were home alone, watching TV. Suddenly, the television screen went completely static. Tina stood up to fix it, and that's when she saw the closet door in the corner of the room slowly, silently swing open. Stepping out of the darkness was Daniel LaPlante, but he didn't look human. He was wearing one of their mother's dresses. His face was covered in crude, smeared makeup, and in his hand, he was physically wielding a heavy hatchet from their garage. The girl screamed. Daniel didn't say a word. He just stared at them with a blank, hollow expression. He forced them into a bedroom, but in a flash of pure survival instinct, Tina's sister managed to break away, sprint out the front door, and scream for the neighbors. Daniel panicked. He didn't run out of the house. Instead, he vanished right back into the walls. Minutes later, the house was surrounded by police. Officers swarmed the rooms with guns drawn. They searched for 2 grueling hours. They checked under beds, in closets, and behind furniture. Nothing. They were just about to give up and assume the boy had escaped when an officer noticed something strange in the master bedroom closet. A heavy winter coat hanging on a rack was shifting slightly, not because of a breeze, but because something behind the clothes was breathing. The officer pulled the clothes aside. He shone his flashlight, and there, squeezed into a tiny vertical recess in the wall, was Daniel, pressed flat against the wooden beams like a spider. He had been living in that darkness for months, surviving on scraps, just to physically occupy the same space as the girl who rejected him. Daniel was arrested and sentenced to prison, leaving behind one of the most terrifying stalking cases in history. And it leaves us with one inescapable thought tonight. When you hear a strange thud or a scratch inside your walls later tonight, don't assume it's mice, because you never truly know who is sharing your home with you.